King Herod the Great held absolute dominion over Judea, backed by Roman legions and the personal favor of the emperor. Yet inside his own palace, he lived as a prisoner of his own suspicion, trusting no one. Herod became convinced that his two most popular sons, Alexander and Aristobulus, were actively conspiring to steal his throne. This fear of his own blood outweighed every other strategic concern in his life. This obsession led to a sham trial at Berytus. Before a hand-picked council, the king officially accused his children of treason and publicly condemned them to death. In his desperation to protect his reign from imaginary threats, Herod crossed a point of no return. He began tearing his own dynasty apart, effectively dismantling the very legacy he sought to preserve. The injustice was so glaring that an old, seasoned soldier named Tero stepped forward. He publicly confronted Herod, defending the young princes and openly questioning the king's sanity. The response was swift and brutal. After a palace barber falsely accused Tero of plotting an assassination, a loyalist mob beat the old soldier to death. With the final dissenting voices silenced, the purge reached its tragic end. Alexander and Aristobulus were taken to Sebaste and strangled to death on their father's orders. The execution of these popular princes created a massive power vacuum in Judea, removing the natural and favored heirs to the throne. This vacuum left only one uncontested heir, Herod's eldest son, Antipater. Though he was universally hated by the nation, he was now legally destined to rule. In the aftermath, Herod felt a brief flash of grief. Looking at the newly orphaned children of his murdered sons, he tried to arrange protective royal marriages to secure their futures. Antipater viewed these children as a direct threat. He feared they would grow up to avenge their fathers and eventually strip him of his newfound power. He manipulated the fragile king, lobbying Herod to break the protective betrothals and redirect the marriages to benefit his own position. Step by step, Antipater removed every other influence from the king's inner circle, isolating Herod from anyone who could expose the truth. Antipater was an active architect of this isolation, engineering the court to ensure that he remained the sole heir while burying the lies that put him there. Confident in his control, Antipater overreached by forming a forbidden, secret cabal with Herod's brother, Pheroras. They held clandestine night meetings, plotting in the shadows and drinking late into the night, far from the eyes of the king's guard. Herod sensed treason brewing, but his paranoia misfired once again. Instead of suspecting his chosen heir, he directed his wrath toward Pheroras's wife. When Pheroras refused to divorce her, he chose self-banishment to Perea to appease the king's anger. Believing his plan was flawless, Antipater departed for Rome to officially secure his succession with the emperor. Herod finally believed he was safe and his rivals were gone. He was entirely unaware that the man who had orchestrated the destruction of his family had just left for Italy with his blessing. Then the foundation of the plot cracked. While in exile, Pheroras suddenly fell ill and died. Rumors of foul play regarding the death immediately reignited Herod's terrifying paranoia. The king responded with characteristic brutality, ordering the relentless torture of the palace maidservants to extract the details of the alleged murder. Under extreme agony, the truth broke wide open. One tortured maidservant cried out for God to punish the true author of their miseries, Antipater's mother. This single agonizing confession shattered Herod's reality, instantly redirecting his deadly investigation toward his loyal heir. The investigation revealed the full extent of the betrayal. The cabal had grown impatient, mocking Herod's long life and comparing the king to an unkillable hydra that simply refused to die. The most devastating discovery was the murder plot itself. Antipater had secretly smuggled a deadly poison out of Egypt specifically to assassinate his father. Pheroras' widow eventually confessed everything, physically presenting the remaining Egyptian poison directly to the king. The tragic irony was complete. Herod had slaughtered his innocent sons for nothing, while the son he elevated to the throne had been actively plotting his murder for years. Antipater is currently sailing back from Rome, expecting to be handed a crown.
He is completely unaware that he is heading straight into the wrath of a king who now knows every one of his secrets.